Hey, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of College Ball with J-Dog. We got a wild weekend we're going to go over. Before we get into anything, y'all do our YouTube stuff for me. Hit that thumbs up. Hit that bell. Go up, hit all if you're already subscribed to the channel. I appreciate it. If you ain't, do that for me. If you think I suck like the dude in the comment the other day, that's fine too. Before we get started, I got somebody want to say hey to y'all. This is my son.
Hey, I just want to say what's up to y'all. This man, J-Dog, is a very good YouTuber. And just subscribe to him. You don't even have to watch his videos. You can just subscribe. That's all I want to say.
Alright. He just wanted to say hey to y'all, so I finally let him say it. Let's get into it, y'all. We had a wild weekend. Very wild weekend. It's really an upset Saturday, y'all, but kind of helped carry the bye week blues because when you're on a bye week and upset Saturday happens, kind of makes you feel good because a lot of times on upset Saturday when Tennessee plays, it seems like they're always involved in it. So I'm glad we was on a bye week. Plus, I know we're getting healthy. That's enough jabbering, y'all. Let's get into it. First game we're going to go over. I'm sure y'all know where I'm going. UCLA. And Nico, I am a leave ya. I know it's Iamaliava, but he's a leave ya. He left us. There's 0-4, y'all. Score 42-37. Penn State was favored by 24.5, y'all. The over-under was like 47.5 or 42.5. UCLA scored that by themselves. Nobody had this game on their radar. I mean, nobody. I knew with Penn State traveling across the coast that it would be maybe not Penn State covering the spread, but I had no clue it would end like that. Nobody else did. If you say you thought UCLA is going to beat Penn State, you're a damn lie. Nobody saw it coming. Like I said on my prediction video, I thought UCLA may cover just from Penn State having to travel across the country. Because that don't ever work out very well for teams. But Nico played his ass off yesterday. I hate to say it, y'all. This crazy stat, y'all. UCLA had not led in a game this year. There's 0-4. Had not led in a game. Had lost to Utah, UNLV, Northwestern, and New Mexico. They had lost to two Group of 5 teams. Then number 7 Penn State rolls in the building and takes an absolute ass whooping. Yes, it was a close game. But when you lose like that to a team that hasn't won, that's an ass whooping. Y'all, this has not been done in years. Look at this. This is from Phil Yates. Penn State is the first top 10 team to lose to an 0-4 or worse opponent in 40 years. Brutal. Yes, that is absolutely brutal. Y'all, as much as I hate Nico, I caught myself pulling for UCLA to win that game because I've told y'all multiple times on this channel that James Franklin is one of the most overrated coaches in the country. He has made a living off beating bad teams. The Big Ten has literally been, for years it's been, Ohio State, Michigan, then Penn State. Well, they added USC, UCLA. So that gave them another little game they might lose. I was thinking USC, to be honest. Last year, they about lost to USC, won in overtime, I think, by 3. Traveling out there, traveling west. Anyway, James Franklin, his seat has to be scalding today, y'all. Like I said, he's made a living beating bad teams. His record against ranked teams is atrocious. Record against top 10 teams is like 1-14. Now he's losing to teams that's not beating nobody. UCLA has been the worst team in college football all season. And James Franklin goes out to LA and takes a L. Y'all, I cannot believe it. That's just not true. That's the biggest upset of the college football season. It might be the biggest upset since Vandy beat Alabama last year. Penn State still has Iowa. I know Iowa has no offense, but Iowa's defense is good. Indiana scored 63 on Illinois. Next week they play Iowa, they score 15. They still got Indiana. And they still have Ohio State, y'all. Penn State could be looking at a 4 or 5 loss season after getting their quarterback to come back. Both their running backs come back. If they lose 4 or 5 games, them fans will want his ass gone. That's the most embarrassing loss in a long time, y'all. In a long time. Like I said, James Franklin has made a living off beating bad teams. If he starts losing to bad teams and can't beat Ohio State or Michigan or Oregon, his ass is grass, y'all. I still cannot believe that. 24.5-point favorites, and you lose. Nico has not played good at all this year, really. He goes for 5 touchdowns on you. Runs for 130. And 3 touchdowns. Nico has some legs, but he's not no damn Lamar Jackson or Vince Young or nobody like that. And you let him run for 130 yards on him and 3 touchdowns. Before we move on to our next game, y'all, I'm going to say this because the Big Ten, the ACC, have absolutely screwed college athletes, y'all. All they ever say is, all we care about is athlete. Everybody knows they only care about your money. So when you add USC, UCLA to the Big Ten, you add Cal and Stanford to the ACC, and you have these kids traveling from coast to coast every single week, this is the kind of result you get. I'm not giving Penn State excuses. They're still so much better than UCLA. They should have won that game easily. But even in the NFL, when teams have to travel coast to coast, it makes for weird games. Now you got college kids having to do it every single Saturday. This is the type of result you get, y'all. It's like USC against Illinois last year. That wasn't even coast to coast, but that was a good little plane ride. And Illinois beat USC. If Illinois traveled out to USC, I guarantee you, USC would probably beat them. We're getting off topic, y'all. I just want to throw it out there. The NCAA absolutely screwed these student athletes when they made these West Coast teams and East Coast conferences. Them killing the Pac-12 hurt student athletes so bad, y'all. Up next, my upset pick of the week was a dud. I'm now 4-2 on my upset pick. That's still pretty good, but I hate coming on here and eating crow when I lose, y'all. Iowa State goes down 38-30 to Cincinnati. This cost me about $60, y'all. I even moved the spread. I do them alternate spreads, y'all. I said Iowa State would win, but I thought if I move that spread, I'll hit. I moved the spread to plus 7.5 for Iowa State, y'all. Lost by half a point. By half a point, y'all. And Matt Campbell had the ball 4th and 5 at the 20-yard line. Decides to go for it, don't get it. If he'd have kicked the field goal, I cover. Cincinnati was up in this game 30-7, 31-7. Iowa State comes fighting back. Couldn't get the job done. Hats off to Cincinnati and Sorsby. Iowa State not having their 2 best corners did end up hurting them at the end when Cincinnati smoked them for the last touchdown. But Cincinnati came out in the first half and ran the ball down their throat, y'all. Cincinnati has not lost a game besides to Nebraska. Cincinnati's obviously a pretty decent team. Saturday, he's doing better there than I thought he would. Let's keep it rolling, y'all. Up next, we got Texas Tech, Houston. The spread was 12.5 that I got. It went down to 11.5. I moved it up 21.5. I had a bad weekend, y'all. It was one of those weekends I should have knew as soon as them upsets started happening just to not place any bets, but I'm stubborn, probably like most of y'all. Texas Tech dominates. Their defense has held Utah to 10, Houston to 11. I know there's some other games they played. Texas Tech's defense, I think they held Oregon State down too to like 10 or something, 10 or 14. Texas Tech is legit, y'all. They're about from 6 weeks into the year, they're the best team in the Big 12, and it ain't even close. Them throwing that old money around has paid off. They dominated this game basically from start to finish. They was up, I think, 15-3 at one point, and it never got close. Hats off to Texas Tech, y'all. I keep doubting them. I'm not doubting them no more. They are the best team in the Big 12. That old money they're throwing around, it's paying off. They're getting, hell, they just got another 5-star recruit committed for the 27 class. That's the world we live in. You can't blame teams that's got it for throwing it around, y'all. I mean, that's all there is to it. I hate it. They're going to end up having to put a salary cap on it, do collective bargaining, but till they do, Texas Tech is a team to watch in the next couple of years, y'all. Mark that down. Texas Tech within the next couple of years will probably be a national title contender, especially out of the Big 12. Up next, we got another upset. Even though Virginia's ranked 24th, Louisville wasn't ranked. Louisville was favored by 6.5. Louisville scores 10 in the fourth quarter to get it to overtime. They take a field goal in overtime. Virginia gets the ball, scores a touchdown, wins the game. Virginia is still one loss, and their one loss is the North Carolina State, a conference opponent. But it don't count towards their conference record. So technically, I know it makes no sense. Absolutely no sense. How you can play a conference team and it don't count against your conference record is beyond me. But that's what happened. And so Virginia stays undefeated in the ACC. Virginia could compete for the ACC, y'all. They're pretty good. They just come off of an overtime win against Florida State at home, and they go on the road against the undefeated Louisville team who survived against Pitt last week and get a win on the road. So let's clap it up for Virginia. Tony Elliott's turned that program around. It was between him and Heupel. Whenever Tennessee needed a coach, we took Heupel. I'm happy with Heupel. I think Tony Elliott has proved he's a pretty good coach. And Clemson's offense really ain't been the same since he left, y'all. I doubted Virginia. I took Louisville in the points. And I ate them. Let's get it right on along to another upset. Another one I was wrong about, y'all. Like I said, it was upset Saturday. Florida at home. 4.5-point underdogs to Texas. They beat them 29-21. Lagway played pretty good. Florida ran the ball down Texas' throat. Florida was the more physical team. I thought coming off the bye week, Sarkisian would have his boys more prepared, but I'm trying to figure out how to put this. Might as well be blunt about it. Arch Manning sucks, y'all. I mean, how can you be hyped up like that all offseason? And I said, you can go back and check me. I agreed with Spurrier. If Arch was so great and he's the number one pick and the damn leader for the Heisman, why did he sit behind Quinn Ewers, who was a 7th-round pick, y'all? But all offseason, all you heard about Lagway too, and Lagway's underperformed. But you've heard about Arch Manning, how he's the best quarterback ever. He's a generational talent. Paul Feinbaum said he'd be the best in the conference since Tim Tebow. He's the odds-on to win the Heisman. Ari, on 3, said that there is absolutely no way Arch Manning is not in New York for the Heisman ceremony, whether he wins it or not. That is a lock. He would be in New York for the Heisman, y'all. He holds the ball too long. He misses wide open receivers, y'all. Overthrown them by 10, 15 yards. It reminds me of Nico at Tennessee last year. How was he so overhyped, y'all? And nobody thought that he would be. Everybody. All the media. There wasn't nobody in the media that said, pump the brakes on the Arch hype. The only person I heard say it was Steve Spurrier. And I got on here and I said, I agree with Spurrier. If he's so great, then why in the hell did he sit behind Ewers, who was a 7th-round draft pick in the NFL? It made no sense. He's terrible, y'all. Florida looked improved coming off the bye week. Texas did not. This is classic Napier, y'all. Starts the season out shitty. His team improves. He saves his job, wins 7, 8 games. How long will Florida put up with that, though? If he doesn't, I'm not saying they will. They still got a tough schedule. They still could possibly go 4-8 or 3-9. But if he does turn it around again and go 7-5, 8-4, y'all let me know in the comment section. Do you think Florida keeps him? I don't think they should, just because it's every year. Last year and this year, and before that, it wasn't even like that. But you can't turn it around halfway through the season at a place like Florida. Florida wants to compete for national titles. And every year, Florida starts slow as hell. They lose 2 or 3 games, and then they get going a little bit after a bye week. So do y'all think if Napier turns it around this year, they've lost 3 already, say they go 8-4, 7-5. Y'all think Napier keeps his job? I think he would if he does, but I don't think he should. Up next, we got Mississippi State, Texas A&M. At halftime, this was a 7-3 game. Mississippi State was scrapping and clawing. Second half, Mississippi State makes a couple mistakes. Texas A&M capitalizes on them. They run away with the game, y'all. I said Mississippi State would cover the spread. I had a terrible week, if you haven't noticed. Mississippi State, I think if theirs at home, that game would have stayed close. Theirs on the road. Texas A&M's just got more talent than they do. I still think Mississippi State could have a decent year this year. But their offense didn't look good on the road yesterday, which is normal for some teams, especially teams that are lesser in talent. And you go up against a team with more talent, and Texas A&M absolutely out-talents them by a mile. I took Mississippi State plus 21.5. They lose by a half a point, just like damn Iowa State did. That's what kind of day I had yesterday, y'all. I was feeling the bye week blues Friday night, and I want to address that too. I didn't post a video Friday night. I got to hang out with my family. I figured I'd enjoy my time with them. I'm sorry about that. But I was having the bye week blues, and then the game started yesterday, and it was chaos on top of chaos, and I was like, man, I'm glad we had a bye week. Up next, Diego Pavia. The man who sits and runs his mouth all summer long, all fall long, even before this game. He said, oh, we go in there, we play our game in between the lines. It won't even be close. Before the game, He's on the sideline practicing a kneel down, victory formation, by himself at the center. And then he goes out and has his worst game of the season. And I hate to be harsh. Alabama wins 30-14, y'all. This game was close. It was 14-14 at halftime. Vandy didn't score another point. There's some turning points in this game, and they was all on Pavia. Vandy was driving to go up, possibly 14-0. Pavia fumbles the ball at the 5-yard line, or 10 to 5-yard line. Okay, later in the game, Vandy's driving again. Pavia throws a pick at the 10-yard line. That cost them anywhere from 6 to 14 points. This is a whole different ballgame. Then even later in the game, he throws another interception. They're down 9 at this point. Bama goes for it on 4th down with like 50 seconds left. Runs it in. Covers the spread. I picked Vandy to cover. They would have if Alabama didn't score that last touchdown. Moral of the story is, Vandy played right there with Bama. But Pavia absolutely hurt his team yesterday. His 3 turnovers absolutely cost him the game. They wasn't nobody else's fault. The fumble was his fault. The 2 interceptions he threw right to Alabama. It wasn't off the receiver's hands or nothing. He wrote a check that his ass couldn't cash. He finally got shut up. Vandy can still have a good season. Hell, really, for Vandy, they've already had a good season. Their over-under win total this year is 4.5. They're at 5. They done covered that. At a certain point, all that yip-yapping and jaw-jacking bites you in the ass. Sometimes you just go out on Saturday, let your play do the talk. Pavia does not do that. This next game, this quarterback ran his mouth all off season 2. Thomas Castellanos, he backed it up against Bama. Then they lose last week in overtime to Virginia. Then this week, they're at home against Miami. They lose 28-22, y'all. Florida State scored 19 points in the 4th quarter. Miami scored 0. Miami covered. This is one I got right, y'all. It was 29-3 at one point in this game, y'all. In the 4th quarter, it was 28-3. Okay? The score makes it look like this game was a little closer than it was. Miami let their foot off the gas. This was an absolute ass whooping. Yes, Florida State made it look close at the end. Miami backed off. Let them dink and dunk them. Done that 3rd and Chavis. If you're a Tennessee fan, a longtime Tennessee fan, you know what 3rd and Chavis is. That's what Miami did. They just sat back, let Florida State really do anything they wanted to, and it got interesting. Florida State kicked the onside kick. But at no point in that game did anybody think Florida State was going to win. Florida State has definitely got overrated from that game against Alabama to start the season. Bama's looked better since then. I still don't think Bama's quite up there where they should be. They travel to Missouri next week. Not sure what Miami and Florida State's got going on. We'll cover that tomorrow on our Week 7 preview show. But Miami is probably a national title contender, y'all. I still don't trust Cristobal, but until they're in a game close enough for one of his boneheaded decisions to cost them, and that might not happen until the playoff because I don't see anybody in the ACC competing with Miami. Miami's really good. I think they're a legit national title contender. I don't necessarily trust their coach yet. But I said in my preview of this game that I thought Florida State was overrated. I know they brought in some guys. They got Malzahn as a coach. And even when I previewed the game, I said, if Miami makes Castellanos beat them with their arm, they'll win this game easy. And that's exactly what they did. They stopped the run, forced him to beat him with their arm, and he couldn't do it. Y'all, this season has been wild. It's going to be wild. It could be like the 07 season, like I said in another video. If you don't remember the 07 video, you're just too young or you're old like me and you got bad memory on some stuff. Pull it up on YouTube and watch how chaotic that 07 season was. This season is teetering on that already, y'all. The transfer portal, all that has made it to where there's not many teams that are just head and heels above everybody. The talent, that's the only part about it that's been good for the sport, is that it's probably killed dynasties. And any Saturday, anybody can beat anybody. It's made college football fun. It's kind of hurt it as well. Well, that's for another time, y'all. But as far as every Saturday, somebody has a player on their team that can take over a game, that's about absolutely a fact. It was a wild weekend, y'all. It was an upset weekend. Let me make sure we covered everybody on here. Yes, we did. Y'all, there's more chaos to come, I promise. I'm glad the bye week's over. It's game week for the Vols. The AP poll and coach poll are out. We'll cover those tomorrow, y'all. Couple of teams fell out. Couple of teams rose. That's what happens when upsets go on. Y'all tune in for that tomorrow. I appreciate everybody's tuned in. If you ain't already, hit that thumbs up. Hit that bell, go up, hit all. Get them videos. Get in the comment section. Give me y'all's thoughts on this weekend. Y'all be nice to my son. You want to call me dumb. You want to call me stupid. Don't say nothing to me about my son at the end. Appreciate y'all tuning in. God bless you. And go Vols.